Hey Rangers fans, it's me, Todd Werwa, your host for Rangers Daily. Make sure you please subscribe, ring the bell below to get updates every time we send out a new podcast. But let's talk about the Rangers. They got a big 3-2 OT win against the New York Islanders. It's preseason, I say big, but after the blown leads of the past two games, kind of nice to get one in the win column, even though they did blow a 2-1 third period lead. But let's talk a little bit about the game. Not the biggest, best lineup to put out there. Here are your lines: Cooley, Parson, and Perreault, Othman, Laba, Radish, Berard, Rubek, Brisson, Brodzinski, Terrence, and Rempe. Vakanainen and Schneider were the top pair. Robertson, Morrow, and then Mackey and Fitzgerald. So, not your Stanley Cup champions, but the way I looked at it, it was a lineup of players that Mike Sullivan wanted to see impress him, right? A lot of the young guys, a lot of the stories of camp, some chemistry, some pairs there. And it was a pretty much full Islanders lineup. Outside of Anders Lee, most of the Islanders lineup were what you're likely to see when they open their season. I believe it's October 9th. But it was a good Islanders lineup. And like I said, this was an impress me kind of lineup. And there were a whole lot of guys that did. You know, it feels good to get the win. But you notice little things like getting out of the zone was our own zone was tough at times. Just looked ragged. Looked like a lot of passes without purpose, a lot of movement, but quick turnovers, either keeping the Islanders with some offensive zone time or just turning the puck back over. Their 1-1-3 did a little bit in the beginning. I didn't notice it quite as much as the game went on. The pace was fast, so not a whole lot of sort of, okay, get behind the net, let the other team gets to set up their defense. It was a pretty fast pace, very few whistles, but feels good to get back in the win column, and there were certainly guys who impressed. Now, early on, the shots did not come easy. It was quite a slow start. Rangers were outshot 10-2 in the first, but here's what I liked. They had 11 hits and 8 blocked shots. They finished with a 26-19 edge in hits and a 21-8 edge in blocked shots. So even while they weren't getting their offensive opportunities, they were doing what Mike Sullivan wants them to do, right? And even though JT Miller, who we think is okay after hurting himself in practice, the JT Miller, Mike Sullivan, no BS, be an FU team to play against. Well, even when you're not getting shots, you've got to do the little stuff. And that's what they were doing even in the first period. Those 11 hits and 8 blocks show you this lineup was there to play what Mike Sullivan wants to have become Rangers hockey. Now, was a slow start, but it is also how you finish. And Gabe Perreault in overtime made an unbelievable pass to Noah Laba, drawing 2 defenders, little sauce on it, right? And then Laba came in, went forehand, backhand, right around David Riddick and scored the game winner in overtime. And good for him. The kid could be a senior at Colorado College. He's been impressive all camp and almost every game. He didn't have his most impressive night tonight. He was, I believe, up against the Barzell line quite a bit. But he's got 5 points now, a goal and 4 assists in 4 games. He's been the surprise in camp. Will he make the team? I hope so, but I don't know because Juuso Parssinen has had a good camp and played well in games as well. And they're probably the 2 competitors for the 3C spot. Will he be kept on as an extra forward? Does it hinder his development if he's not getting a ton of minutes at Hartford and winds up being an off and on healthy scratch? We'll see. Those are decisions for Drury and Sullivan to make. But Noah Laba has done everything to try and impress this coaching staff, and he's forced them to make a difficult decision, which they don't have to make just yet. The Rangers did cut down to 41 players on Monday, but Laba's still with the big club, and we'll see where he goes. Now, the competition for that 3C spot played pretty well, too. The line of Cooley, Parsonen, and Perreault. Let's listen to these numbers. Cooley had a goal and an assist for 2 points. He was +2. Parsonen had a goal. He was +2. And Perreault had 2 assists. He was +3. He was obviously out there and made the pass for the game-winning goal. Cooley, on the first goal, made a nice drive to the net. Don't know if it was a shot, if it was a pass off pad, but came off of Riddick's pad right to Juuso Parsonen, who pounded it in for a 1-0 lead, and that's how the Rangers escaped the first period, up 1-0, even getting dominated on the shot clock. Then Cooley's goal, he took the puck around the back of the net and shot at a tough angle. Perreault crashed the back post, and Riddick almost looked like he wasn't sure if it was going to be a pass and sort of opened up, and Cooley found the open angle and scored. It really was nice. A well-played move by Cooley, well-directed shot. And like I said, Perreault was also right there should there have been a rebound. Now, the hit of the night, unfortunately, no, it wasn't Matt Rempe or it wasn't Johnny Brodzinski or one of those big guys. It was Gabe Perreault on Will Cooley. They got a little tangled up, and I'm telling you, Perreault leveled him. Cooley backed out, realizing what happened. Perreault just kind of got in the way and just came up and leveled Cooley. He was fine, but it was a somewhat comical moment in a game that was a little bit stressful. And then Perreault, like I mentioned, made that beautiful pass to Laba for the OT game-winning goal. Parsonen he's played really well, and if he wants to get that third center spot right from the jump, he's kind of done everything. If Noah Laba hadn't had the camp he's having, then Juuso Parsonen he's had a lot of first-line playing time with these guys, developed some chemistry. He's made Perreault look good. He's been in on the forecheck. I think he's solid in that spot, but you've got another guy sort of becoming the story of camp at the same position. But I think Parsonen's done all right. Cooley is Cooley. He's just, a phenomenal two-way player. He hits, he scores, he drives the net. He does everything right. The only question will be, where will he find himself in the lineup? And Perreault has looked good. Perreault has looked like he's fit in. Was he better than Othman tonight, who was on the line with Laba and Radish? Yeah, I think so. And obviously, 2 assists and a +3 indicates that numbers-wise. But he fits in. He helps. He makes other guys better. That game-winning pass, it was his move that brought the second defender over to him. And once you get, 2 defenders on one player in 3-on-3 overtime hockey, if you can make that pass to the open guy, and Laba was moving, you can create a great scoring chance, and that's exactly what Perreault did. It was really a very nice play. And finally, let's talk about the goaltending. Obviously, I mentioned how badly the Rangers got outshot in the first period. It was a little better in the second, but Shesterkin stopped 21 of 22 shots and .955 save percentage in 2 periods. He gave way to Dylan Garand for the third period. Garand let one in, let the tying goal in. It was a long-range shot from former Ranger Tony DeAngelo. Garand just doesn't look like he's playing with a ton of confidence, and you can sort of understand why after the other night. But back to Shesterkin. He stopped 21 of 22. The only one that he allowed, Barzal was in the corner, passed out to Anthony Duclair in front. Shesterkin went to poke check it. It sort of flipped up over his shoulder. Shesterkin tried the reach behind your back and catch it move, but he just missed it with the glove, and it barely trickled over the line. So, a difficult save with Duclair right in there, but, he wasn't beat. It wasn't a terrible goal. So he looks like he's in midseason form. I would like to see him play all 60 minutes, would be nice, but I'm sure they're getting drilled enough in camp with shots and peppered and fitness and all of that, you know, playing 60 minutes in that first game on October 7th against Pittsburgh, he's not going to tire in the third period. We know that. So he's fine. He stopped 21 of 22. He looked good in the two periods. And so Rangers now wait until Thursday for their next game. They have two more games until the end of preseason, and then it all ramps up. October 7th, it starts. The 82-game grind starts against Pittsburgh, Mike Sullivan's old club, and we'll get to see Sidney Crosby, Evgeny Malkin, and Chris Letang in the Garden. Should be a fun night. But let's celebrate the Rangers getting back in the win column. And again, this is Rangers Daily. Please subscribe. Please ring that bell to get updates every time we post a new podcast, and enjoy the Rangers season with me. Looking forward to it. I'm Todd Werwa, your host. Have a great day.